Hello, my dear fellows, travelers, photographers, and friends around the world. In this new year, I send my best blessing to all of you. Today will be my third episode of my travel journey to northern Pakistan, and this time we were covering a region much closer to the Hunza Valley. But of course, in this round, I'm sharing you more toward this eastern side of the northern Pakistan. Please stay tuned. Now, the map that we are looking at now is the Pakistan states, and of course, we have covered the most northernmost tips of this country. And today we will cover my road journey from Chilas to Skardu. And Skardu, the place where located near to the eastern side of this Gilgit-Baltistan regions, and if you are joining any tour that to Pakistan, to northern Pakistan, which only lasts about 7 to 10 days with the duration, very likely that you will not cover this region. That is the Skardu region and further east. So the map here shown the approximate location of the place where we will be visiting today, and you can see from this slide here, it's on the high ground region, and generally most of the places that we are visiting and sharing with you today will be anytime above 2,000 meters above sea level. So you can look at this map showing the location for the Chilas where I stopped my travel logs in the last episode, and we are continuing from the point 5, where is Chilas, all the way along the Karakoram highway, and then we do a point where we call it J. It's actually a junction where we tee off, and then we leave Karakoram highway and travel eastwards. And along this eastward travel, of course, we'll be traveling along the river Indus or Indus River, and all the way to point 6. And point 6 is a place called Skardu, and then we'll continue further our journey to up north of Skardu, a place called Shiga. And you can important to note that in these regions is really in a high mountain range regions, and therefore you are expected to see a lot of snow-capped peaks along the journey. So this is a much closer map routes showing you from the point from the Bisham, which we actually have visited and shared with you in the last episode. And just important to note that from point 4 to all the way to point J, the entire road is classified as Karakoram Highway. Of course, Karakoram Highway will not just stop at point J, you will go further up until to the borders to the China. And we have the opportunity to stay in this Rock City resort, and a place where I consider quite a nice place to put a night. And of course, the surrounding view of this resort or this hotel is quite pleasantful, and if you have a chance to explore this part of the country, it's not a bad recommendation to put a night in this Rock City resort. And let's look at some of the surrounding of this resort. There is taken during the morning view, because we only put in a night here, so this is actually the next day morning. In fact, we arrived at this hotel fairly late, probably about 8 p.m. in at night. Then we have a good rest. Then we continue our journey all the way up north. And this hotel, of course, is facing the Indus River. In fact, most of the hotels that we stay in this region are actually situated next to the Indus River. So this is the Indus River. I can see during our visit consider in autumns, and the water's level is of the river are much lesser. So you can see some of the river beds exposed. Let's begin our journey again on the Karakoram highway, and from Chilas to Shimrat. Now, Shimrat is a village or a little town, just quite close to the junction where we tee off we're moving out from the Karakoram highway and we are moving eastwards. So this is the map showing from point 5 all the way to point J, and the point J is of course where the point where we start leaving Karakoram highway. And these are some of the pictures taken or images taken along the journey. You see, this part of the journey is considered quite remote, and not only that, actually also have very little vegetation. And the river that's shown in this image basically is an Indus River. And we expect to come across numerous suspension bridge that spanning across the Indus River, serving the human settlement on the other side of the river. And all this suspension bridge considered is built quite in quite a good condition and built quite recently. So this is one of the stretch of the Karakoram highway that I consider quite pleasantful to drive along. A very dry region. I will look at it from the vegetation. It definitely show that the rainfall in this region are very much less. Then, while we're driving along this stretch of the Karakoram highway, and we will then stop at one section, and we were told that there are some rock carving. And so we went down from our bus, and then we started looking around. And we noticed that this section of the road itself, the rock carving seem to have been vandalized. And there's been barbed wire fence was barricaded up and to prevent people from walk close to this rock carving. And I was told that actually there was not long ago, this ancient rock carving or rock art carving on this Chilas area has been desecrated and vandalized by the Islamics. I believe it's extremists. And this rock art is believed to belong to a 9th century. Some of this rock art can be still viewed at this certain section of this Karakoram highway, and just next to the highway itself. So you don't need to walk much. You don't need to walk any distance. You just have to get out from the road, and it's just next to it, right? And just a bit about this rock carving. Now, this Gilgit-Baltistan region was actually dominated by Buddhism, which left different recorded rock art and inscriptions going back in time between the 5000 BC till the 8th century. Nearly 20,000 focuses are discovered, yet the vital spot are the Chilas rock inscription, and as well as many other inscriptions, such as the Manta rock cut eagle of Buddha, and also the Kaga Buddha, and also the Dayong rocks, and also the sacred rocks of Ganesh, etc. So there are quite a number of places you can find this rock carving. But today we will try to share with you the rock carving or inscription at the Chilas. section, as can be seen in this image now. So the approximate location has been shown in this map here. That's not too far from the Chilas town. And of course, the place that we stopped by, they have a signpost. It's called Taupandas Rock Carving. And opposite, on the other side of the road itself, you can see there's a barbed wire being put up to barricade. And it's on the space of rock, you can see some white spot. Apparently, the white spot are the area where the rock art have been vandalized by the Islamic extremists. And of course, we still can find some rock art yet to be vandalized, as can be seen in the middle of this image. So the area where I circle in yellow is also another rock carving on the same region, but of course at a different spot. So this is a closer view of this rock art that can found. And of course, there are not many of them because even furthermore, you can walk right into, but because it's been barricaded, so we can only found few of these just fronting the Karakoram highway. And so as we drive along also along this Karakoram highway, and we will then stop at a place that they call it the Nanga Parbat, Nanga Parbat viewpoint. Now, Nanga Parbat is a mountain, right? So it's a westernmost major peak of the Himalaya range. Now, the Nanga Parbat in Urdu language translated to be mean the naked mountains. Now, known locally as a Daima, which means the king of the mountains. Now, it is the 9th highest mountain on earth, and its summit point is at about 8,126 meters above sea level. Now, it is lying immediately southeast of the northernmost bend of the Indus River in the Gilgit-Baltistan regions. This is at this viewpoint that again as shown in this map. This is the approximate location of this viewpoint, where you can able to view this mountain range, the mountain peaks from afar, as can be seen in this image, right? And in fact, we passed through this place twice. So the image I'm sharing with you is taken in 2 occasions, but at the same spot. You know, one is on the way, one is on the way return from the north. So this image managed to let us have a view of the peak because it's not been covered by the cloud. But on the other hand, on another days when they took the picture, you can see that now the peak is completely submerged, hide behind the cloud, thick cloud. And this is another point around somewhere that I managed to take a capture of these mountains. Remember, this is actually the 8th highest, 9th highest mountain in the world, right? Then along the way, we also stop at another point here, another viewpoint, and they call it the junction point of 3 mountain range. Right? And that means that at this point, you can see 3 of the most famous mountain range in this region converge. And so the location is probably shown here. Again, it is actually along the Karakoram highway. And you can see in this image, I have shown 3 alphabets, the I, and then the H, and then the K. Now, the I is represent the Hinduskuh mountain range, and then the K stands for Karakoram mountain range, and of course the H stands for Himalaya. So you can see that these 3 mountain range are actually converged at this point and can be viewed along this Karakoram highway. And of course, they purposely built a viewing platform there for viewers to capture these 3 mountain range in one spot. And below the river, of course, is the Indus River. So from this part of the journey where I'm showing you the Skardu Valley, it's actually a journey after we tee off from the Karakoram highway and moving eastward, and along the way, and where of course we drive along the Indus River as well, because most of the routes built in this region are built next to the river, you know, and some of them are given route are given the name that similar to the river, but of course in this case, when we travel along this junction from the junction part of Karakoram Highway all the way to Skardu itself, I named this stretch, this journey, as where we'll drive along this river Indus. I'll call it the Skardu Valley for ease of identifications. So you can see now my journey from now on, from Jare all the way to point 6, where it is the Skardu town, and then from Skardu town we move north. A short distance we reach point another new town called Singar, and of course then we further to the east we come to another point called Kaplu, a town called Kaplu, and of course I named it the journey between these 2 points. J to 6, this distance we call the Skardu Valley, the place that we travel. Then you from 6 to 7, along the journey itself, I name it the Singar Valley. And then when you from 6 to 8 itself, I call them Kaplu Valley for ease of identification. But in this map, I want you to pay attention to 3 circles that have been highlighted in this map. Basically, you can see that one is called the Dorsai National Park. It's right below the Skardu town. And then we have another one quite near, next to the Karakoram Highway, and they call it the Fairly Meadow National Park. And if we were heard about some of the travelers from the YouTubes recently, they actually have been visiting this place. And of course, to go to this national park, so it involved quite a fair bit of trekking, mountain trekking. And as our group, many are elderly people, so we did not include them into our travel itinerary. But anyway, that is also a very good spot to travel when you explore the northern Pakistan. And then on top of that, a very small circle, we circle K2. In fact, K2 is a name given to mountain peaks, and it was the second highest peak in the world. They name it K2. I don't know why they call K2 but not K1, but anyway, K2 are referring to second highest peak in the world, right? And so the journey that I'm going to share with you now will be basically the Skardu Valley. You can see the journey in this part is really off the Karakoram Highway, and the route condition, of course, are getting worse, not as good as Karakoram Highway. It can be seen in these images that I'm sharing with you now. But the scenery on this part begin to attract my attention. You can certain section of this valley, you can see that the scenery is very beautiful. Only thing that we have came a bit too early. If we came here maybe 2 weeks later, probably the scenery the autumn scene will be more impressed, more magnificent, there are more trees, leaf turn into yellowish color or reddish color. During our visit, there is still a lot of green on the mountains. But even those during our visit as I said, in the middle of October, but the temperature, the climate here also has turned chilling and cold during the night, and at times they can be touching the freezing point, I mean the 0 degrees Celsius. We were quite impressed by the journey along the way, and in fact, Skardu is just a small town, but the journey is not just for Skardu. Journey, our intention of travel to this part of the Pakistan is more interested on the scenery along the roads, along the journey. So therefore, we are capitalizing on every opportunity to capture any beautiful scenery that found along the road, along the way. And these are all images. Most of it are taken actually on a moving vehicle, moving buses. And of course, we do put a stop in one little village, and we'll be having our lunch. I think it's a lunch here, and it's just next to the Indus River. And of course, you can also find out a lot of police escort vehicles were parked nearby. Apparently, this place is one of the only few places that you can stop and have a cup of, have your meal and a cup of drink. And we are lucky enough to also have put another night in another hotel, and they call it Shingila Motel. And again, this motel is actually again built just next to the river Indus. And this is some of the scenery that you can find around behind this hotel. When we arrive at Skardu town, it's almost in the late afternoon, and therefore we continue our journey immediately to the viewpoint to view the sunset. And the picture that I capture here, I like to refer as the Skardu sunset, and let you have an idea of how this Skardu town look like during the evening. And it's only a short trek, not to worry, and then probably about 10 to 15 minutes of trek this under this road condition, but I think it's fine. And when top, we actually not reaching to the highest point. We are reach a place where flat enough for us to take image of the surrounding of the Skardu town. So this image is taken during the late afternoon, or rather the evening. We were there quite late, and I should say that the sun set pretty early during autumn and winter. So we are there, actually we almost missed the sunset. But anyway, we still are able to capture some very nice scene in this viewpoint. This image was taken much later in the evening. You can see the fogs and mist has start building up. That shows that this area during at night is chilling cold. Just before we left, and then we spot this moon. It's not the sun, it's a moon, right? And of course, it's time for us to leave and head on to our hotels, and then to have a nice dinner. So this is actually the last of the few images taken on that day at this viewpoint. So finally, this is the end of my journey, of my travelogue for today, sharing with you from Chilas all the way to Skardu. And in the next episode, I will be carrying out the journey, share with you the images that taken place, the travel journey from Skardu all the way to Shinga, and as well as all the way to Kapu. And this is, again, I say earlier, is a place whereby if you are not spend enough time in Hunza, northern Pakistan, likely this section you will miss out, will not be included in the travel itinerary. So this will give an idea of whether it's worth to travel to extend your stay in northern Pakistan to cover this region, the Skardu and Kapu regions. Right? So I thank you for staying until this hour with me. I hope you are strong and healthy, and it's a good brand new year. I hope that you have a very beautiful travel, journey and experience ahead of you. And please stay strong and stay safe until we meet again in the next episode.